Breaking news! Cooper Kupp is on IR. Let's see the tweet. Rams are placing standout wide receiver Cooper Kupp on injured reserve due to his lingering hamstring issues per league sources. Kupp now will be sidelined a minimum of 4 games, starting with Sunday's regular season opener with Seattle. Even though we knew it was coming, it still hurts to see. I had a little bit of hope that he would be able to stay out maybe a week or two, but minimum 4, and we say a minimum because they don't know when he's going to come back, and I can't sit up here and act like I know. So as of right now, you won't have him for a month. It's really unfortunate. I hope that he gets better, not just as the football player, but as the man. I know that he works hard in his physical therapy, so this is really tough. Good luck, Cooper Kupp. Can't wait to see you back, buddy, but unfortunately, the show must go on. Let's go over some starts and sits for your lineup this week. Starting off with quarterback, you're not benching any of the top 8 guys, so if you drafted them, you're going to start them. But I have a few fringe guys that I think are going to be really good plays, and one deep sleeper for you big league folks. Start and sit quarterbacks for week 1. Number 1, Geno Smith. Everybody's sleeping on Geno Smith. He has one of the best receiving cores in the game. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and JSN. Tyler Lockett and him have connected for some incredible deep passes. The LA Rams don't scare me. Geno Smith is going to light up the Rams. Geno Smith has top 5 upside. These receivers are wild. I'm really liking the Seahawks this year. Sit Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't had 300 receiving yards in forever, and he's going to need to get touchdowns to even be quasi-relevant. Both the Bills and the Jets have good defenses. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Sit Aaron Rodgers until he has a better matchup. Stop playing with these Bills. You're definitely going to want to wait for a better matchup for Aaron Rodgers. The Bills ain't it. Start Tua Tagovailoa. Do y'all remember the Ravens game where he threw for crazy yards and a bunch of touchdowns? Well, I think this is going to be high flying as well. As long as Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen are all healthy, they're going to be absolute beasts with crazy upside. The over-under is at 51 points. You definitely want a piece of this game. While Tua is healthy, man, I'm telling you, watch out. If Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle can all stay healthy, this team is dangerous. Fastest team in the league. My sleeper pick of the week, Baker Mayfield. Yes, I know Baker Mayfield hasn't been great in the past, but this is the best receiving core he's had. The Bucs are going to be down in this game, and they're going to need to come back. Everybody's sleeping on Baker. The Bucs are projected to be down in this game. They're going to have to throw the ball to come back. I'm digging it. He swing that thing. It's the first week of the season. We don't have enough data to be reading trends on how good different defenses are at guarding different positions. We have an idea of how good they are, but after a couple of weeks, I'll be able to give more of an informed analysis on how specific defenses are handling different offensive positions. But as of right now, we're making assumptions on the defense. So there's a few things I'm looking for right now. First off, don't overthink it. Start your studs. If you drafted someone in the first 6 rounds, you're probably going to start them unless there's extenuating circumstances. I know some of you are missing players. Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor, the tight ends that are banged up. Some of the wide receivers have hamstrings injuries. Those are the ones that I'm going to be trying to find replacements for. People you can slot in. But if you want to know just people in general that I'm a fan of this week, one thing I like to look for are high scoring games. Like the Chargers versus Miami. The over-under's like 51 points. Of course you're starting Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but I also like Keenan Allen. I don't love Mike Williams, but I think he should be able to get some opportunity. If Geno Smith's gonna go off, I think DK Metcalf is gonna pop off. Same thing with his teammate Tyler Lockett. I think that Geno Smith is gonna throw it all over the yard. They're definitely benefactors of that. The Bucs will be down against Minnesota and have to throw the ball to get back in the game. I think Chris Godwin gets some work. Same thing with Mike Evans, except he's in a contract year. Speaking of Mike Evans, per Adam Schefter, Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans officially will not be extending his deal by today's player-imposed deadline, per league sources. Evans now will be playing on the last year of his contract and plans to explore his free agent options in 2024. Unfortunately, it sounds like this might be the last year that we have Mike Evans. I'm a Bucs fan through and through. I've been one my whole life. Born and raised in Tampa, Florida. It's gonna really hurt watching Mike Evans go, but if we're not signing him, I can't really blame him for exploring his options. The guy's had 1,000 yards every year of his career. We can't get him a contract. It sucks. I love Mike Evans. There's a chance that halfway through the year they trade him before the trade deadline just so they can get something for him. I just want the best for Mike Evans, whether it be with us or with somebody else. If they do trade him, I hope they trade him to a contender because I want to see Mike Evans play football and I want to see him play at a high level. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Wide receivers to sit in week 1. Michael Pittman Jr. And this one really isn't even about Michael Pittman. It's about Anthony Richardson. I love the talent of this kid, but he is unproven in the NFL. Yeah, he was drafted at 4, but he had very limited playing time in college. This is the big leagues. I at least want to see how he's going to play. Also, Jonathan Taylor's not back there to move the offense down the field. I don't think they're going to be very good. With Pittman, you're going to need a touchdown or success in garbage time, and I'm really not gambling with that. Honestly, I didn't draft him in any of my leagues, so I don't have to deal with it, but for all of you who did, you might have better options. Number 2, Marquise Brown. Not only are the Cardinals going to be awful, but this Washington defense is good. I don't trust the quarterback. I don't trust the offense. And Marquise Brown is dealing with a hamstring injury right now. Nah, I'm good. I'd pass if I can. And third, Terry McLaurin. I am not questioning the talent of Terry McLaurin. He is an excellent wide receiver. But right now he's dealing with turf toe, and they're going against the Cardinals. They're going to get up, and he's going to sit. Because why play him more if you're already leading by a bunch? If you don't have to play Terry McLaurin, I wouldn't. Let's talk about a few sleepers I got for you. Again, this is week 1, so you should be starting your studs. But if you have injuries and you have an opening, you need to find somebody. This is a break glass in case of emergency kind of situation. But these guys might get some opportunities. Van Jefferson. With Cooper Kupp being on IR, Van Jefferson's going to be the wide receiver 1 on this team. Now, he's not an all-star, but he'll be getting the targets. I'm very curious to see how he does. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. Nico Collins, another sleeper, wide receiver for the Houston Texans, going against the Baltimore Ravens. Nico Collins is the wide receiver 1 for the Houston Texans. Yes, they have a rookie quarterback, but this is a deep sleeper. If he was elite, you'd be starting him already. This dude's 6'4", 215, and that's what I want my rookie quarterback to be throwing to. Baltimore is going to be up by a lot in this game, and the Houston Texans are going to have to throw the ball to try to keep up. So, Nico Collins, I think they're going to have to throw it to this guy. 6'4", 215. You can't teach that. Off the radar running backs that I like to start this week, Raheem Mostert, running back for the Miami Dolphins. I think Jeff Wilson's going to get involved a little bit, and the same with Devon Achane, but Raheem Mostert should be the main running back on the Miami Dolphins, and like I said, I want to get a piece of this offense. I think this is going to be a high-flying game. So Mostert should be a solid start if you need him. I also think that Brian Robinson should have a solid game as well. Running back for the Washington Commanders. He's going up against the Arizona Cardinals, who are going to be absolutely awful. If the Commanders go up by a lot, they will run out the ball, and this guy is the guy they're going to give it to. Antonio Gibson is more of the pass-catching running back. They're going to use him in creative ways earlier in the game, but once they get up by a lot, it's Brian Robinson time, and he's just going to run out the clock. Running backs I hate this week, Javonte Williams. I like him as a player, but for those of you who don't know, he came off a major injury last year. Now, he seems like he's recovered, and it looks like he's been running well, but I have a feeling he's going to be on a pitch count. Not a specific number by any means, but I have a feeling he's not going to get all the work that people are thinking he's gonna get, and I'm really not trying to risk that. Not week 1. Let's just see what we got first, and then maybe we'll play him next week, maybe. The next running back I'm out on, Breece Hall. Again, a guy coming off of a major injury, and he has a very good backup in Dalvin Cook. Or maybe he's the backup. Food for thought. I don't want to test these people off of these major injuries. Let me see what he has in a game, and then I think you could play him. I don't have any Breece Hall, mainly because I'm a big scaredy cat. Anytime I hear anything about an ACL injury for a running back, I think they're gonna take a while to get back to how they are. Now, not to get back to walking, running, but there's a big difference between being in shape and being in football shape. These are some of the best athletes in the world that are going to be trying to tackle him. He's going to have to juke out of the way, spin moves, do all this crazy stuff, stiff arm. Not only does he have to be good at that, but he also has to have confidence in his leg and be explosive. I want to test that week 1. Let's see it, and then I'll believe it. I'm about guaranteed points around here. This is week 1. I'm trying to get out of this with a win, not roll the dice. No. No, I want to see it, then I will believe it. Until then, no thank you. Also, the Buffalo Bills defense is good. I'm also out on DeAndre Swift. I was out on DeAndre Swift during the draft process, but I'm definitely not starting in week 1. I know some of y'all out there drafted him in the 5th, 6th round. I didn't get it then. I don't get it now. I wouldn't start him. I think New England's going to be a good run defense, and I think Jalen Hurts is going to be their primary runner. I'm good. And a guy that went super late in drafts that I think you can start, Khalil Herbert, I'm not saying he's going to be a rock star, but I do think that he is going to get the touches. I'm curious to see what he has. This is more of a break glass in case of emergency, but I think he'll be the starting running back, and I think that the Chicago Bears should be pretty solid in this game. Right now, there are a lot of tight ends that are questionable. So I have tight ends that might still be on your waiver wire that can fill in the gap. First off, let's go over the tight ends that are in question. Mark Andrews, questionable. Darren Waller, questionable. This is also the night games. You're going to have to be prepared if you're going to wait on him. George Kittle, also questionable. As you all already know, we lost Travis Kelce this week. That's 4 of the top 5 tight ends. Let's find you somebody you can start. My favorite starter, Tyler Higbee. With Cooper Kupp out, I definitely think Tyler Higbee is going to be a main part of this offense. He's a great pass-catching tight end. He's the least likely to be on the waiver wire. Next, we have Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett is a tight end on a high-powered offense that I love the game for. The Chargers versus the Dolphins, there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. Gerald Everett might do some work. I think he's a great grab. If Mark Andrews misses, I think you grab Isaiah Likely. He would be the clear backup. And he's also talented, very athletic. With Christian Watson out, Luke Musgrave might be interesting. I don't normally like rookie tight ends, but some of these players you're going to need for afternoon games, and it's a roll of the dice. I mean, Christian Watson's out. Romeo Doubs is banged up. Their only wide receiver left would be a rookie. Maybe Luke Musgrave. And if you're waiting on Darren Waller, it's the 8:30 game, so there's only a few options left that you might be able to find, but they should be out on the waiver wire. In the same game, you can roll the dice with Jake Ferguson, another rookie tight end, but Dallas uses their tight ends. Dalton Schultz was a main part of their offense. I don't know if Jake's going to have that role. At this point, you're grasping at straws, and Dallas has a good offense. They could throw it to him. You might be able to get like 3 receptions, 45 yards, and luck into a touchdown. That wouldn't be bad. And if you're going to scrape the bottom of the barrel, Monday night, Dawson Knox. He'll be available because everybody that drafted a tight end from the Bills drafted the right one, Kincaid. But so Dawson Knox will definitely be out there. If I'm going after one of the 2 tight ends in the Monday night game, it's probably going to be Tyler Conklin. Obviously, I prefer neither. But at this point, you might be fighting with other people on tight ends on the waiver wire. So if the first 3 aren't there, I got a couple dart throws for you. Good luck. Let me know if you got any questions. Let's talk about some defenses that might be on your waiver wire. The best one of the bunch, Washington Commanders. They're going against the Arizona Cardinals, and the Cardinals are going to be terrible. They don't have a real starting quarterback. They picked up a guy off the street. Washington should be great, but they're probably rostered. Definitely check though. Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going up against the Indianapolis Colts. Anytime you get a chance to play a rookie, it's probably a pretty solid grab. By the way, I would have mentioned the Ravens, but they should be rostered in every league, so I'm not going to waste your time. But if they're out there, they're the best defense this week going against the Houston Texans. Figured I'd throw that in there. You got the Seattle Seahawks going up against the LA Rams. Without Cooper Kupp, I think that they should have a very limited offense, so I think they're a solid grab. They're not my favorite, but I think they'll be okay. The New Orleans Saints, I think this should be a pretty low-scoring game. They're going up against the Tennessee Titans. I mean, you always got to kind of worry about Derrick Henry busting off a long one, but I like the Saints because they're not just good for this week. I think they're good for the next few weeks. Let's look at their schedule. They don't have a game I don't like until week 7. Week 1, Tennessee. That one's a little up in the air. But after that, Carolina Panthers, love that. Green Bay, love it. Tampa, like it. New England, like it. Houston, love it. Jacksonville, that one's not great. But then after that, you get the Colts, rookie, and Chicago. Meh. I think the Saints are a pretty solid long-term grab. Shout out to my boy Austin. He actually recommended the Saints a little while ago during draft season, so you can thank him for that. If you win your week because of the Saints, let me know. He will think that's hilarious. Austin, if you see this, let me know. Bet you ain't even watching this episode. Probably watching these UCF Knights. Ooh, got a couple minutes before the game. Gotta get this done. So do you have any start-sit questions? Anybody you think you should grab off the waiver wire? Any advice on how to do anything with fantasy football? Let me know down in the comments and I'll let you know. I've gotten a couple of comments that I'm actually gonna go back and make videos for because I think it's things that everybody should know. So if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. Let me know down in the comments. Also, if you do Pigskin Pick'em, click right here and I got you. I'm pretty good at Pick'em. I did have the Lions over the Chiefs this week. I'll see you soon.